Good morning, and welcome to Powermetrix News. My name's John Jones.
And my name's Chris Mullins.
And we've got two breaking news stories for you this morning. We've got new products, new services we're going to talk about. But first of all, let's flip it over to Chris for sports.
No sports.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, hopefully we can see some ESPN reruns, or if you're lucky, maybe on your DVR you've got some great games and seasons recorded at the house you could watch. But what we've got today is, and before anyone asks, Chris and I are wearing pants. No boxers on the table. So if you go through, we're on our new segment in the series, and today we're going to be talking about, as I said, two new services and products that we've got. Know that we've got 4 upcoming webinars already lined up. You'll be getting an email on those Friday, okay? So as you can see here, it says field testing services, meter change out, AMI deployment. Don't know if anyone knows this or not, but not long ago, Powermetrix entered into this market, and we now do field testing services for people. We can also do meter change outs as part of their AMI deployments, and we've been doing this for a little while now. What we found is the customers like the idea of a manufacturer doing this in case there's any kind of an issue. We can provide a lot of good information in case a customer has a problem and there's a customer complaint. They like it coming from a manufacturer like this, so we've seen a spike in this service, so it was time we put this out there for everybody, so that's what we're going to talk about first today. So you can see here, like I said, we did our studies and we found that there's a lot of folks out there, they prefer to have their services outsourced. And I'm not telling you anything you don't know. We have, we just don't have enough folks out there. We don't have enough time to get to it. Or, my guys are doing all kind of things besides testing. They're doing everything from painting light poles to, hanging banners to also, putting in new services so that the testing time can be limited, what they can do. We also have, it can be a money issue sometimes. And then also, like I mentioned before, a lot of companies for a customer complaint or anything, sometimes they prefer a third party doing the testing, so when they go to the customer, it doesn't look like the utility itself did the testing, but someone else was there. We see that when we do this for folks, we obviously can help in identifying lost revenue. We can, meet all the compliances by going to do your testing because, we have to have so many meters tested every year, and so we can do that. And then also we can, as you're going to see some of the services we can provide here, we can also find some possible problems out there, which starts bringing into not only employee but public safety. Okay, and of course our focus is on CT-rated sites because we have all the equipment and the personnel to be able to get there and test your CTs, your PTs, your meters. I said, but also we can do other. We can actually do some other services for you by photographing the sites, looking for problem issues, GPS. You're going to see all this here in a minute. But obviously our focus is on CT-rated sites. But we also can test residential meters as well. But the focus, of course, is on this because it's what our equipment and we specialize in. So we will do, when we show up, we have a standard test. This is kind of the way it works. We have the standard test we do, and then you can start adding other things to it. If there's, think of it kind of like as a menu. And you say, well, I want more than just a test. I'd like to have this, this, and this done. But the standard test or standard package is we come out and we do a customer load test on the meter. And if there's no load, of course, then we're going to perform a phantom load test on the meter. And then we do a CT burden and ratio test on the CTs. Now, if you can't get to the CTs, then we can do the CT burden added test. But for Powermetrix, we also have an option that the other folks don't have, which is we can do a CT burden measure. And, the other folks can't do that. Only our equipment can. And this is where we can actually measure the burden in the circuits on those CTs so we can pick out not only a possible problem, but what phase it's on and identify where the problem is. So you have that added aspect if we can't get to your CTs out there in the field for some reason. And then, of course, we are going to provide a report on each of these sites after we complete the sites in whatever format you need and provide all that to you. So the basic services at a tie generation point are very similar. You're going to do a customer load meter test, or we can do a phantom load meter test. We can do both. We do a CT burden and ratio test, just as we said before. If they're not accessible, we can do a burden added, or we can do a burden measurement test. And we also, just so you know, it's the same pricing for one of the tie points as it is to one of the other sites. Okay, because if you look at this, we're talking about the same scope of work. So it'd be the same price for a meter or tie point as it would for just a CT site out there.
So when the test is done, at the very end, we hand off a report on both parties. So we play the third party role of doing the test, and then we hand off to the distributor, and then we hand off to the buyer.
Perfect. Both sides of it get. Yep. Okay, so we've done mass AMI deployments as well. So you know, we can step in. This is nothing that you guys don't know about. When you have an AMI deployment, we are definitely a player in this market. So we can provide you with expedited services. We've got plenty of references if you need them. A lot of glowing references we can give you. We're able to go in there and do the change outs for you. We'll line up the deployments, the number, so we'll know how many folks we need out there. And we'll work with you on it as far as doing these AMIs, as far as setting up how many folks. It's always about time, right? So you'll give us a completion date when we have to have it completed by. And all of our guys are fully qualified, have all the gear, and so when they show up, you'll just give us a timeline when you want to get it completed by. And you'll see by our references, we've been very, very solid on always completing the projects within the completion date. Okay? When we're doing these, we also, of course, you're going to want to keep the records of these changeouts. So we have a completely customizable process in that, you know, we've got tablets, or you can provide us tablets. We also have our own software. You can provide us software, and what we'll do is we'll work with you on it. You tell us how often you want the information sent in, and the main part of this is we just work everything out on the front end with you so that we give you what you want. And as I said, we can provide the tablets, or you can provide them, and we have software ourselves. Okay.
Yeah, one thing we've done for our customer is a typical day would be that one of our technicians would roll up to the utility, put a pallet of meters in the back of the truck. We go out on our route when we've already predefined the route, either based on the utilities request or something based on our setup. We would go out. We would go out to the customer site, knock on the door, alert them that we are going to pull the meter. If we get no answer, we go ahead and go to this side of the house, pull the meter, or I'm sorry, we take a picture of the old meter first with a tablet, pull the meter, put the new meter in, take a picture of that new meter with the tablet, and then go over and mark off that it's done. And each one of these are uploaded to our database, and the customer is able to see us as we move along throughout the system for our route that day. And they repeat that for the second day.
Thanks, Chris. Okay, so now we see here we have our technicians that'll go out. We can do the tests, and you see what our customers have liked is we've been very responsive with a short time to be there. So when they've asked us, hey man, we're kind of in a bind, I know it's not giving you a lot of lead time, can you be here? I think the responsiveness that Powermetrix has shown is why we're growing so much in this part of the business. So and you can see we're in Ohio, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Alabama, Florida, New York. So you can see that we're not just here in Tennessee. So we have been out there nationally doing these projects. We've done small ones you can see here, and we've done some really big ones. So we can we'll work with you. As I said, the main thing, and we all know this on these things, is that front end, the communication, and us giving you what your expectations are. So here's one of we talked about some additional things beside the basic test. Here's one of the things we can do. We can do a safety inspection. You're looking at screenshots here from guys' phones. So we've got an app that these guys can use when they're out there. We have a set of visual inspections that we can do. If you need us to add some, we can add that, but we have these. And if you go through them, we will check all the spots where we find any issues out there, okay? And there'll also be an Excel report for each one of these sites.
A common problem we may run across is you know, we've seen leaking transformers. We've seen moisture inside the meter base. So we go through and make sure that you, as a customer, know what's going on at the end of the day.
Absolutely, and we've actually, you know, if you go out there and see enough of them, you're going to find stuff. So we found that. We've taken pictures and reported leaking transformers, and we found problems with the CTs. And all of these you can see here. If you ask for site photos, we can literally photo every single site. And we'll give you a digital photo of it. It'll be cloud accessible. So we'll literally photograph every single site. And you can tell us what you want pictures of. Normally people want to see those CTs. And then they want to see the guts of the transformer if they can. But for sure they want to see like one of the issues you see right here. If we see any problems, exterior problems. So we'll take pictures of these and they'll all be cloud accessible. Then we're also going to do GPS mapping. The guys have got available to them that they can provide longitude and latitude of the meter's location. We will supply a report on it as well. And they've got an app for that as well, so they can go in and get the GPS mapping if you ask for that. Analytics. This is Chris Mullins' wheelhouse. So analytics. We do analytics on a large scale for folks. We've got large customers right now that ask us to do just their analytics. I mean, they've already got the test data, and we do the analytics for them afterwards. Of course, when we're doing the testing, we will also do the analytics for you. And we will provide, you can see we're going to provide spreadsheets. You tell us the format that you want, and we will provide them in that format. And we're going to highlight all the issues and problems that we find. And of course, when we find one, we'll dig down into it and see if we can't figure out for you what the problem actually is. Anything with billing multipliers, we're going to verify those. If we see some numbers that are out, we may also say, hey, this site might have a potential problem because of these numbers. And I've seen Chris go through reams of this stuff, and he actually goes through, and that's what he'll do. And like I said, it's for customers that we do the testing for, and we even do it for customers we don't do the testing for.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are kind of shocked when I always tell them this, but does anyone have any idea what the #1 problem we have found in the field? And some people think, oh, bad meter, bad CT. It's not. It's the billing multiplier. There's so many cases we run across where the billing multiplier is wrong, where somebody transposed it from the site to a piece of paper, or they put the CT ratios in wrong, or the PT ratios in wrong. It happens all the time. And these billing multipliers can provide a huge error in the billing.
They're the big numbers. Billing multipliers, as we know, we're dealing with big numbers when we start multiplying or not multiplying. So we can also provide you a custom web page, actually. So we can provide the links on there if you do to go to the information that you want. So you can jump onto, you can see here, it can be accessed by your PC, laptop, or mobile phone. It has historical data in there. If you want to start, so you start looking at maybe some trending and what happened before at this site. And we'll have links, and we'll provide them and customize it for you. So you can just click on the links to get the different information when you want to look something up for a site. So this is very customizable to you.
Yeah, the real benefit here is is not really year one. Year one is hard to get a trend, but if you continue with us and go with year 2, year 3, and maybe beyond, you'll be able to see this trending of, is your site healthy? Are they getting worse? Is your registration dropping? So this is kind of why we recommend going with a kind of a long-term solution as opposed to just, well, I just want to test my 100 sites for the first year, don't worry about it for the next 5. You can do that, but I don't recommend it if you're trying to determine a long-term path.
All right. So we've covered all of that we wanted to, but now Chris is going to talk to you a little bit about some of this analytics that he's mentioned here. So he's going to show you some of the things that we've done before and kind of talk to you a little bit about that.
So as we mentioned, if the customer likes, we do an analytics package where we get all the data from the field and we export this into a spreadsheet. And we actually put human eyes and some AI in it as well to try to determine what's wrong. And here's an example of some site analytics we've done for another customer. And this is the kind of information we provide. The site name, and I go through each line and I go through and add any kind of comments that I want the customer to look at. And don't be too concerned that you go through this and start seeing a bunch of red flags. You'll see anything red. So I've gone through and looked at these sites and I've kind of flagged sites that may have problems. But at the end of the service, we always set up a teleconference call with the customer. And what I do is that I go through this spreadsheet in detail. And like I said, some people kind of freak out with the amount of stuff we find. And hopefully I can reassure you that some of these are something to look at, not necessarily to take action on. But if I really find a problem, I will highlight these in yellow, and those are the ones we really want to discuss over the phone. Like for example, on this site, we had a very high harmonic distortion here. So if anyone has asked me, they always ask me, what do you consider a high harmonics? And I always say it's anything above 20% THD on the current side or more could potentially cause a breakdown of your transformers over time. And so I highlighted that, and on top of that, it was obvious that these high harmonics were affecting my CT ratio. Oh, these are not displayed. So that's one example I've got. I'll also highlight any kind of power factor problems we may have that are below 85%. I may flag that. A lot of times you can't do much about that because that's the nature of the load, but I just want you guys to keep up with that and make sure you understand. Obvious ones are, we did a meter test and the meter registration is out. And so I'm going to recommend that we're going to either retest that meter or replace it. So again, we go through this. We want to be sure that you feel comfortable at the end. I'm going to go through all of these sites that I think are problem sites, and we get a lot of this back and forth feedback, and the customer asks, especially if they're new to field tests, and they're like, what should I do? And based on our experience, we always give recommendations of what should you do. Ones that are real problems and ones that you probably don't really need to worry about, but just keep an eye on it. Another reason kind of why a long-term field testing plan is a good idea, so we can keep an eye on these problem childs that could pop up in the future.
Great. I'm sure, I guess you and the customer, they tell you what's going to be the flag level, or you work out with them?
Yes, the customer always tells me what they consider a good meter test and a good CT test, right. And then I put that into my spreadsheet and then make sure I'm within those parameters.
Perfect. Okay, so let's talk about the other breaking news that we've got here at Powermetrix. We know that we're in a brave new world right now, so we know we'd love to be standing there in front of you, demoing for you and going out in the field with you and doing some testing, but we can't do that right now. But with our new training benches, it has afforded us a great opportunity to still work with you guys and reach out to you so that we can connect on specific opportunities or needs that you have. And this is how we're going to do it now. So we're going to have product demos or any kind of training that you want to do. When you go to that, I mentioned before, that Learn More, when you click on Learn More, you will see at the bottom of it a way to schedule. You can send in and you want to schedule a training session or a sales demo online with us. We'll do a webinar just like this for you. So if someone has seen this, it's out there now, and they look at this and they go, man, I like what I see, but he wants to get the right group of people in there to see it, then you get that group of people together and you just let us know. We will set up a date with you and a time, and we'll do a demonstration for you for your group. Okay, and if we want to get some training, we can also do training as well. I mean, it's none of our faults that this is going on, but we got to work with it. So we still would like to stay in communication with you. But more than that, I mean, this is all about learning to do our jobs safely and better, okay? More importantly, safely. So we would absolutely be willing to work with you on training as well. So it's not just, this isn't just about demonstrations. But if you do have a group that wants to see something, we can even also demonstrate products. We can demonstrate the test kits. And you can tell us, I'd like to see you use a 3 series on a 5S, or I'd like to see you use a 3 series on a 2S meter. Show me how I can test a self-contained with a 3S meter out in the field. Absolutely. Well, you just tell us what you want, and we'll get something set up for you, and we can do it on an individual basis now.
We actually had a customer that actually sent us some raw data and wanted us to load it into our bench and simulate it. And we can easily do that. I think it's a great idea, and it's a great way where you can safely see how that meter will actually perform, and we can do all kinds of analytics and look at it and determine, oh, okay, I think I know what's going on with this one.
Absolutely. So, as I said, the way to access this is you click on the Learn More on the website. And when you click on the Learn More, then you'll see the last entry in that box that pops up is for you to schedule an online demonstration from us, okay, or training. So please utilize that. I have a feeling we're going to get a lot of stuff scheduled. We're looking forward to that. It'll be great. And as I said, you get a group together and you want to see something, just holler at us, man, and we'll set it up. All right? Last but not least, here at the end, we really appreciate you guys tuning in. We've got some great response from you guys, and we appreciate everything you've been saying about this. We love doing it. We miss being out there and seeing y'all and going out in the field and testing with you. So this at least allows us to keep in touch with y'all, because we know that when you get into this business in our industry, it's more than just customers. I mean, what we do out there, it's not the safest thing in the world, so it kind of bonds you a little bit. So we miss you guys, miss being out there and going out and testing the field with you. But this way, at least we can still do it. So please take advantage of this. Set up some appointments. We'll do some training, some demonstrations on you on equipment, benches, whatever you want to see. Okay? And last but not least, I didn't do it at the beginning this time, so I'm going to pray here at the end. And I want to give a shout out. We're so happy to hear that Kurt's mom's home and doing well after open heart surgery. So that's great news. So I'm going to end this with a prayer. And once again, we just appreciate y'all. So I'm going to end it like this. So if you'll join me. Father, in your word in John, it paints a scene of just a multitude, it says, of people that were crippled and just ailments and illnesses. And they waited and waited on a stirring of the water that was supposed to happen at Passover, and an angel came, and the first one in the pool might get cured. So they're all just staring at the water and waiting. And our Lord Jesus walked right in there amongst them. He was right there standing in the middle of them, but they just kept staring at the water and waiting. And one of the person that he was 38 years a cripple laying there, and he had no hope, no help. No one would even help him into the water to maybe have a chance at this Passover healing. But Jesus was standing right there, and I know that right now we're waiting to hear from mayors. We're waiting to hear from governors. We're waiting to hear from presidents. We're waiting for some news. We're waiting to see how this is going to work out. And we're waiting and waiting, and we're anxious and we're nervous. And you're still right here, Lord. You're right here amongst us. And Father, so we turn to you. We ask for your guidance. We ask for your mercy and your grace. And Father, in the middle of all this, hopefully we're starting to peak on this thing and get on the other side. But I hope we turn our eyes to you, Lord, because that's where we're really going to get comfort and peace. So I'd like to lift this country up. We're going through this, but we're going to come out the other side. I'd like to lift up our government. They're under a lot of pressure now, and people are got all their eyes on them to perform. And Father, more importantly, I just want to thank you for what your Son did, because without that, I couldn't even pray right now. All of these things I say and ask according to the will of the one who paid it all, my brother, Jesus Christ. Amen. So we really appreciate you guys again, and thank you so much. And you'll be getting an email Friday on the next 4 coming up, okay? We've got some really good ones. A lot of it is customer input, and that's what we're excited about. It's something that you guys have asked for. So these are going to be things that people have asked for and we've all seen in the field. So a lot of us are going to go, oh, yeah, we've got those too. So we're looking forward to those. So thanks again. Thanks for tuning in. And Powermetrix News out.